Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Modern Warfare 3 In Depth. In today's episode, I'm not going to be talking about guns or stats or perks. We're actually here to talk about an MW3 app of sorts by Mr. Brass Monkeigh.
Hey Drifter, thanks a lot for having me on.
No problem. I'm glad to finally be able to do this video with you because we started working on this together. Was it in January or February?
Yeah, I think we started talking back in January and got things a little solidified in February, and then you were helping me out with the reviews for my new app, which is the Ultimate Utility Pro version for MW3, and we talked about it back then, and then I finished up with some of the other pieces, and now it's available for you and everybody to check out.
Yeah, long story short, Brass Monkeigh here makes a living selling iPhone apps, or specifically gaming apps, and he made one, think about it kind of like all of MW3 In Depth squeezed into one little app, and the initial version had some coding errors and some stats were messed up because instead of getting the gun stats from a reliable source like me, this crazy man was actually going into matches and trying to test every single gun and variable by hand. So while 80% of the stuff was right, maybe 90, some of the more technical stuff was wrong around the edges, and you guys actually just sent him a bunch of messages like, you need to talk to Drifter, you need to get Drifter on this, he's the best, blah blah blah, and he got in touch with me, and I ended up working with you to correct all the stats and double check it because we've both screwed up things. Lord knows I've made my mistakes. And I also wrote reviews for this app. I wrote, what was it, like 40, 50, 60 something? I wrote reviews for every single thing you could write a review on, blew up like 20, 30 pages of Microsoft Word, and we worked together on a month or two making sure the coding's right, the shots to kill are right, the body markers are right, the damages, the ranges, everything's right, and we finally got all of Modern Warfare 3 In Depth squeezed down into this one little 3 or 4 megabyte app for your iPhone. So when you want to know what gun is best, instead of loading up 80 of my videos, you can actually just reference this handy dandy little app and be like, oh, well that's neat, the light machine guns take 3 shots to kill.
Absolutely, and just like you were saying, I did go through and test out all the different guns, and you know what? As you know from your testing yourself, there are guns that they do 4 shots to kill, but you don't know, is it 25 damage, is it 26? It can be anywhere up until 33. So that's the thing, is really getting in there and getting the game code and the actual stats on some of this stuff makes a huge difference, and you can get pretty darn accurate testing results from going through and testing different guns on the different health settings, but not until you get those actual numbers is it really going to be the true values for some of that. So
oh, you're right. A perfect example of that would be like the MK14. MK14 can kill somebody in 1 shot close range. You shoot them in the head and they die instantly, but at really far away it kills in 3 shots. So does that mean it does 100 damage up close and 33 at a distance, or sorry, 34, or does it do like 90 in a headshot multiplier and then 40 at a distance? And that gun was kind of screwball, and if you were testing stuff like that by hand, I could see where it would be very difficult to get it straight. I've had problems like that testing out Juggernaut. I still don't understand Juggernaut. Look at that MLG Akimbo FMG9 going on your screen up there. For those of you that don't know, we probably should have mentioned this earlier. My gameplay, which is the very team-oriented objective play MP7 down here, is me, and Brass Monkeigh playing a completely different game with a completely different setup and play style and everything up there in the top right-hand corner. As he explained to me, he was playing the Team Slayer and trying to pinch off routes and make it to where they could only run certain places, which I guess is effective.
well, certainly was for me. So
yeah.
I had a good time. This is actually a map that I really enjoy playing on because there are routes to the center that people, I think, tend to overlook in terms of how important they are. If you can hold down that center area, which is some of the routes that I was trying to cut off a lot of the time, then it's almost a guaranteed win because it just forces them around the perimeter, and it makes it take so much longer to cap the flags that it's almost impossible to come back from behind if you're not able to take some of those shorter routes through the center. So I think a combination of the two styles we were doing really helped our team to win this one.
Yep, and we also had J-Hub on this one too. He was helping us out, and that's what you need in a lot of games. You need to have somebody playing a Slayer style, and you need to have somebody throwing themselves on the objective, and it generally works out pretty well, just as long as everybody knows their role.
Absolutely. That's the thing, is having positions and knowing what everybody's doing at all times and good communication. I think we were communicating pretty well through that one too.
Yeah,
we only had half a team.
I think you pick up a lot of kill streaks at the end, which ended up helping out like a bunch of Reapers and stuff, so I was able to run through the explosions and take no damage via magic, I'm going to assume, while the other people were getting blown all to hell.
Yeah, for sure. But you know, I do really want to thank you though for all of your help with those reviews. I don't think your users really got a good feel for how much content you contributed to this.
It was a lot. It took me about a week or two to get it all ready.
Yeah, there's really an amazing amount of stuff in there. I mean, I know your users are definitely going to get the most out of the weapon reviews and the statistics that are in there, but there is also a complete guide for the different maps and showing spawn points, and that was one of the things that really helped me figure out how to play some of these maps now. Is I have all of the different, not just the main spawn points, you know, when you start the match, but the different individual spawn points for maps. So when you're playing a game like Domination, you know where the enemies are going to respawn throughout the match, and you know where to go to cut them off.
Hold up, I actually didn't know you did this. This is the first I've heard of this. So you actually found all of the spawn points in the game?
Yep, all the different individual mid-game spawn points.
Did you find anything about the spawn algorithm? Because the spawns in this game, everybody wanted me to make an in-depth on, but I could never quite get a good enough handle on it to sign off on any in-depth. And you're saying that I know you told me about the 3D heat maps in the game, but those 3D maps also include the spawns.
Yep, exactly, and it's going to show you where people are popping up. And the spawn algorithm is a little bit trickier to figure out, and it does change depending on the game type. There are certain game modes that are only going to allow almost fixed spawns, and I think Capture the Flag is one in particular where there's a limited number of spawn points, and they're also fixed to a side of the map.
Well, yeah, that's because it's basically like base-on-base action.
Right, so game modes like that, you're going to have a much easier time spawn trapping enemies. Now, if you contrast that with something like Domination, there are more spawn points, even more spawn points in a lot of Domination maps than there are for TDM on the same map. So I found that interesting as well.
I mean, there's spawn points all over the place. Oddly enough, I'm going to be the person that gets you back on track with the app business here. I'm also doing what you call a pwn box, which is kind of like a Q&A session via text. Like when you download the app, you can hop into the pwn box on the app itself and talk to me. And whenever this video goes live, which should be tomorrow or maybe the next day as of our recording it, but as soon as this video is live, I'm going to be in there in the pwn box for an hour or two or three taking questions from everybody just as fast as I can answer them. And you can access this via a website or through the app, and I would highly, highly recommend you do the app just because if everybody gets on the website where they can type fast, that wall is going to explode with 900 million messages, and I won't even be able to read them, much less answer any of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's actually one of the favorite features of the app for a lot of people. It's one of the social features in the app. And the pwn box is a great chat room for people who are coming on wanting to get in touch with other gamers. And you're going to be on there whenever this goes live, just so you can speak with some of your subscribers who do decide to check out the app afterwards. And there's a free version as well, which is going to contain the pwn box too. So if your subscribers would like to get on and check out either of the versions of the apps, they can do that and talk directly with you, ask you questions, or ask questions of other gamers as well.
Yeah, sure. And just making sure this is iPhone only, right?
That is correct. Right now it's iPhone only. Android's something that we may work on in the future, but not sure how far out that is at this point.
Gotcha. Well, you got to get there eventually because iPhone's like, what, 60-70% of the online market, but there's still a huge 30% that's Android. That's nothing to scoff at.
That is true, and in terms of just comparing iPhone to Android, there are more Android units out there, but you're right, when you factor in the iPod and the iPad, that is a bit of an equalizer there. But yeah, there are a lot of additional users there that I certainly hope I can bring great products to later on.
Gotcha, you got to work on that. I'm just watching this gameplay here. We're getting near the end. I think, who had the highest score on the team? Was it me or was it you?
This one, we played a couple of different games last night, and we were really
Yeah.
trading off a lot of those different scores. I don't know. J-Hub may have had this one. I forget. We'll have to watch to the end and
Somebody
see.
had a bunch. I'm never going to forget that game we lost by about a millisecond. That just drove me bonkers.
Oh, I know. We had, what, 3 or 4 people on the flag that was arcading right at the
Yeah.
end.
Just
All try to
barely
jump
missed it.
on.
Picked
Lost
up
by
the
like
double
3.
kill here at the end, and who has the highest score? Oh, it was me. You got third.
Oh, man. Still a 37-9. Not a bad score.
Yeah. Well, it's been fun talking with you, and subscribers on my channel, there's links all over the description down there to the app and the website and everything, so be sure to check all that out.
All right. Thanks again for having me on, Drifter.